Sadie's incredible essay. Sadie's incredible essay. Focus question. What does Sadie learn about writing research papers? Sadie was kicking herself. She'd missed 6 days of school for a family reunion. School had always been easy for Sadie, so she left her makeup work until the night before she went back. Who wants to do homework on vacation anyway? Sadie thought. Sadie looked through the first few pages of her homework packet. This is a piece of cake, she determined. An hour later, she was fast asleep with her papers and books strewn around her as if a tornado had hit. Back in class on Monday morning, it was business as unusual. A lot had happened during the week she was gone, but it wasn't a big deal. She never really struggled to keep up. Then, at the end of the day, Mr. King announced, "Don't forget about your research papers, which are due at the end of this week." Sadie's eyes grew wide. What research paper? On Monday night, Sadie found the information about the paper at the bottom of her makeup stack. The assignment was to write about an important person from her town. This should be easy, she declared. The directions included sections on how to find, evaluate, the cite sources. She had written research papers before, but the teachers always provided the sources. This was the first time she had to find information entirely on her own. Sadie skimmed the instructions about researching. She had earned an almost perfect grade on her other research papers without much effort. So why would these be any different? Sadie pulled out her tablet. The limited information available about her small town narrowed her choices, but one caught her eye. Catherine Helker. Helker had started Sweet Cat's Bakery in the 1950s, and it soon became the most popular bakery in the area. Eventually, Helker opened a factory and sold their goods all over the country. She was elected to mayor for 2 terms, then ran for a third term and lost. Just when it seemed as though Sweet Cat Street were more popular than ever, Helker shocked everyone by closing down. Sadie found sites that claimed Helker closed their business because some customers became sick from her treats. Another site described how she was upset after losing her reelection bid. Sadie read everything she could about Helker, taking careful notes and citing her resources. By the end of the night, she had a rough outline. Sadie felt she had earned some time to play Crazy Candy Swap on her tablet before bed. The rest of the week flew by, and Sadie turned in her essay on time. The following Wednesday, Mr. King handed the papers back at the end of the day. Excited, Sadie scanned it for her grade. Instead, a note written in red stood out. "Please see me after class." As Sadie looked back through the essay, she noticed circles, notes, and other marks. She'd never failed an assignment before, and she put just as much work into the paper as usual. Her chest felt tight, and she had to blink away tears. When anyone else had left, Sadie sheepishly approached Mr. King's desk. She felt as though she was walking the plank on a pirate ship. "She wanted to see me," she mumbled. "Yes, Sadie," Mr. King began. "I have some concerns about your paper. Did you read the assignment information about research?" "I did, well, sort of," she admitted. Mr. King nodded. "I suspected as much. Your essay itself is well written, but your citations are information comes from unreliable sources. You also plagiarize it in a few places. Do you know what that means?" Sadie shook her head. "It means you copied information word for word without putting it in quotes." Plagiarizing is like stealing, Mr. King explained it. I didn't mean to steal anything. I didn't mean to steal anything, Sadie stormed. I know. Let's go through the notes in your essay together. Mr. King flipped to the first page of the paper. You did well at the beginning, he affirmed. See here, your information came from the local history museum site. Museums are great places to get credible information. I'm glad I did something right, Sadie thought, jotting the note down in her book. On the museum's page about Helker, the writer has cited her own sources. That means you could check the information in the sources, such as this letter Helker wrote. You can also see who the writer is. A quick search shows she's written 2 books on local history, which helps prove that she's incredible. I found the same information on a few other sites, Sadie piped up. Mr. King explained how Sadie needed to confirm information from multiple sources, but that those sources also needed to be credible. After that, he brought up the local mysterious site, which was her source for the story about kids getting sick from Helker's baked goods. Mr. King asked Sadie to evaluate the site as a source. There's no information about who wrote it, Sadie surmised. It also doesn't cite any sources. Those are good things to notice, but what about the site itself? Do you think a site that's trying to excite people about mysterious with focus on facts? Is this an incredible source? You're right, Sadie admitted. It can't be trustworthy. Mr. King pulled up the site where Sadie had found the information about Helker leaving town because she lost the election. Mr. King pointed to a few sentences on the site and a few sentences in a paper, and asked her what she noticed. Uh-oh, they're the same, Sadie thought. She whispered. They're identical. Your cite's the source at the end of the paragraph, Mr. King noted, but you didn't include quotes for those sections you quoted. That's plagiarism. Another option would have to summarize or paraphrase information, which is putting the same idea into your own words. The information still needs to be cited, though. Mr. King then had Sadie look at the site itself. She couldn't tell who wrote it. At the bottom of the page, however, she found the source for the information on the page. She asked Mr. King to look it up. What do you think about your credibility of this site? Mr. King asked. It's an opinion piece from a newspaper, Sadie uttered. It was written by someone running against Helker for mayor. Sadie thought about it. He's probably just trying to make her look bad. Mr. King nodded. That's known as bias, he explained it, pointing out how the author was expressing his point of view. That means he could be presenting only part of the story, completely false information, or a combination of the two. After they went through the rest of her essay, Sadie found the courage to ask, Did I fail the assignment? With the essay as it, yes. Yes, I would have to fail you, Mr. King said quite seriously. Then his face softened. However, I'll let you rewrite and use incredible source and turn it in on one day. Yes, Sadie screamed inside her head. In reality, she stood in stunned silence. Mr. King's words were music to her ears. Sadie? Mr. King asked, jolting her back to reality. Sadie nodded and gathered her things, not wanting to see anything to jinx her luck. You won't regret these. I promise to write truly incredible essays this time using credible sources, she managed to say. Some tips on credible sources. Finding credible sources can be tricky. Use the tips below to help you recognize credible sources. Pay attention to the extensions at the end of websites. .com and .net. Anyone can get these. Watch for bias and check sources. .gov. Only government sites can get these. They are often credible but check sources. .org. Often used the non-profit organizations. Watch for bias and check sources. Point edu. Used by schools or universities. Often credible but check sources. ES. Can you find the same information from multiple sources? Who wrote the information? Is the writer an expert in the field? Did the writer experience the event firsthand, or is he or she reporting information from others? Is the writer or website showing bias and trying to sell something, or confidence the reader to believe something?